For more than 10 years, I've been unapologetically and proudly sharing my learning moments while I've been flying, thanks to tiny action cameras, of which I've basically used all of them. In this episode, I'm going to share a sample debrief of 3 very different types of flying. That has not been in my kit for a long time, but that's a Hero 2. And that feels like a universe away from the current technology. 8K 360 has been a total game changer, so this thing has really changed the way I shoot.
This is what it's all about right here. IFR cloud surfing. This rocks.
The X5 has significantly enhanced visual storytelling.
Man, this is bumpy.
Caution, inside TFR.
We are tight, man. It's nice.
I never imagined I'd have this level of control of the image when I started capturing and sharing my debriefs.
Directly over Niagara Falls. Can't see it, but the Insta360 probably can. Sure it can, actually.
Being able to get shots like this is why I'm dumping my original camera kit. One of the flights that I was most proud to be a part of this year was the anniversary of the Battle of Britain formation flight, where we fly over an event in Windsor with the Canadian Aviation Museum crew. Obviously, it was not a beautiful day, and I didn't spend any energy thinking about filming other than rigging the cameras for debrief.
Yellowbirds push 124.7.
I'm the only one with modern avionics, so it takes the others a little bit longer to change frequencies.
Yellowbirds check in. 2, 3, 4. Windsor Tower, the Yellowbirds are holding short of 30 on taxiway Delta. We're ready for takeoff with a momentary delay.
This was the first formation flight where I had the X5 out there on the wing. So this thing powers up really fast, like that was real time. If I want to see the footage, this is a very cool shot that I got recently. We're formation flying a 4-ship with the museum fleet, and immediately I can swipe and be looking at my footage instantly. No delay, no lag. So the speed of the processor in this thing is crazy. And I'm looking at beautiful 8K footage, and I can debrief with the guys immediately after landing in the camera. And then if I want, I can just put this in my pocket and then connect to it with the app. So this is the app. Can you see my phone? So we're going to say connect to camera. I just threw it in my pocket. All right, and I think if I want to see my footage, I go album. Yeah, there's my shot. It's a big shot. It's 40 minutes long. But there it is. There's us getting going. I really like how the X5 allowed me to capture this formation takeoff and animate the perspective. And that blue rag on my knee is because I got wet while I was getting in.
Gonna go 1 notch.
The first element is being led by the Stearman with the Chipmunk behind it. Those 2 airplanes have less performance than the Harvard and I do, so that's why we wait until the tails are up. And you'll notice Todd is going to bob his head when he adds power in the Harvard here. He's really good at making it quite exaggerated so you can't miss it. And then my job is now not to overtake the Harvard. I've got significantly more performance than he does, so this is an exercise in doing a low power takeoff, which definitely does not feel intuitive. So even with significantly low power, I'm off the ground basically by the time his tail wheel comes up, and I'm just holding it in ground effect here. And then I really need to be aggressive with the power, pulling it back at times so I don't overtake him. There goes the Harvard's gear, which is fun to watch. The next thing that's going to happen is Todd is going to give me a signal to swap sides. As you can see, the lead element is up ahead. So I'm going to cut to a crappy action cam on Todd's wing, which is honestly kind of jarring from the awesome quality of the X5. But it really showed him give that arm bar very clearly.
Traffic, 12 o'clock.
So now I'm sliding over, and I'm going to leave a little bit of a buffer because when he joins up with the lead element, he may decelerate quickly, and I don't want to be too close because the RV-14 does not slow down as fast as the Harvard does.
Yellow 4, move in the box.
So again, it's very cool how I can change the perspective of this camera during another position swap. And then I'm cutting to the Ace Pro 2 here, which is my over-the-shoulder camera.
Yellow 4.
There have been a lot of questions and comments on previous episodes with this footage, with people asking how to control it. I'm not going to do a full-on tutorial, but let's briefly touch on how easy it is. So for people that want to have immediately accessible footage and just like edit on their phone, you can actually export the clips, animate them, and do what you want to do with reframing and so on, and prepare your clips for social media and publish. Personally, I don't tend to do that, but I might start doing it more because it is so usable. But my workflow is to export the footage into Final Cut Pro, and then I animate and reframe my 360 footage there. But for a lot of people that don't want to do post-production, this is a great workflow solution. This is the Insta360 app on a computer, and I'm basically setting keyframes, choosing the perspective I want, working with footage that I've got the flow state set up such that it's locked to the horizon. I don't want to get into trying to teach exactly how to use that in all the different modes, but bottom line, you do have full control. In this case, I thought it was kind of cool to be able to watch a hammerhead from this perspective, but you could lock it to the airframe if you wanted to, which is what I did with the formation flying stuff. I chose this footage to illustrate how powerful the image control is. In this case, I'm flying in the most well-marked aerobatic box that I've ever flown in. I'm going to punch in here and see one of the edge markers there. It's quite easy to make it out. This is at the US National Aerobatic Championships. I've got a coach on the ground with a radio who's helping me set my lines while I fly some Humpty Bumps and Hammerheads, which are basically vertical figures. They also give me a really good chance to look around because this is my first practice flight in the box. In this case, I only got to practice once before the event started. So while it's fun to play with footage, to zoom in like that, to see myself in there looking at the wing, a really good practical use case is that I can take this footage after this flight and then debrief and look around at the landmarks, which is really what I need to know because this box is only 1 kilometer. So it's a very tight area that you have to work in, so you got to know where you're at. And it's pretty cool to be able to confirm that I'm flying where I think I'm flying. And again, looking at edge markers, there's a corner. My coach is helping me fly the perimeters of the box basically here. And that's what I'm doing, getting my references locked in. So that's an RV-14. It's a fast airplane. It checks a bunch of boxes in terms of aviation. I can do aerobatics, instrument flying, formation flying. But the biggest challenge that I've had is that because it's so slippery and it goes so fast, it pulls 6 Gs, I haven't really been comfortable mounting cameras exterior because I really had to engineer something that allowed for a secure mount that could handle the speeds, the airflow that's going across the camera, and then pulling Gs. So it was a bit of a project to make this happen. And honestly, that's why I'm 6 months behind most of the other creators that have been publishing with this thing, because I just wanted to see for real if it was worth it. And then to make it happen, it took a bunch of time to plan it out. Ever since I got this airplane, I've only briefly flown with exterior mounted cameras before the paint. I actually sanded the aluminum to use the GoPro stickies. And that was for night flying and some of the initial aerobatics. But I sure wish I had this thing then. So the X5 is 144% bigger chip than the X4, which was the previous generation of this camera, which I was pretty impressed with, but I wasn't inspired to actually drill holes in the airplane until the X5. And 8K quality is super sharp, and you can zoom right in on the shot. Like this wide wing mounted shot, I can still punch in and get myself in the cockpit and it still looks good. So I don't know what percentage I'm zooming in on that, but I'm definitely cropping in on the 8K and it still looks great. With that said, on long cross-country flights where it's prohibitive to let the cameras roll for a long time, both because data generation is huge when you're shooting 8K and also battery management can be difficult, this is how I like to use them.
This is very cool that I can control the camera with the app. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
So it's less than 15 seconds.
Okay, so you're rolling, you're rolling, you're rolling.
Spent thinking about cameras.
All right, so this looks like it should work. I have a little bit of weather over Cleveland, but my briefing with a human confirmed that it is not anything other than rain, but I'm not gonna go through red regardless. But I do have significant areas of mileage to gap through it. I don't wanna go way over the lake, but I can pass it by multiple miles. I have SiriusXM aviation weather to keep me on the loop, but I'm not gonna thread the needle with this, and I will be talking to ATC. So I chose that airport because the fuel price was good and it was away from the weather, but it's not exactly on my direct route. So as we get closer, I might look at diverting to somewhere that is like this one. Add to route. Yeah, so that's pretty much direct. And assuming I can skip past that weather, which is what I was trying to avoid, it's going the correct direction. I think that will work nicely. So I think that's going to be my plan. Yeah, so lots of marginal and IFR conditions, but nothing crazy.
Charlie Foxtrot, Charlie Golf Alpha. Just need to verify you're on 121.0.
Affirmative, 1210, Foxtrot, Charlie Golf Alpha.
Perfect, thank you.
So by 12:30 it's supposed to get better, so that's nice. I ain't gonna be there by then anyways. So I think that's what I'm gonna try to do. Negotiate a little bit of a better route after Cleveland.
So it's nice to be able to capture a debrief this way where I'm not exactly setting and forgetting the cameras.
This is pretty cool how well this works.
But it's super easy to start and stop them in non-critical phases of flight.
So I can see myself in there. Hi. And I'm gonna cut that now.
But I do want to make it super clear that it's important to not allow cameras to become distractions, so please manage them accordingly. So this setup is a FlightFlix pole, and my original plan was to work with all FlightFlix hardware. This is the Surface Rocksteady mount, I think it's called. The team was super supportive, helping me figure this out with various components to try while we built this combination camera mount and sighting gauge triangle, which is largely based on FlightFlix equipment. And they offered me some gear that we could give away to you guys, so please check the description for how you can get it. So it has been a fun ride playing with all the various models of action cameras over the years, but at this point, my kit is now entirely based on Insta360 equipment. So I can confidently say that these cameras have definitely changed the quality of what I'm capturing. It's definitely next level. And if you want to check it out, there's an affiliate link in the description to get a deal, or you can use Flight Chops at checkout. The previous episode was a deep dive into the debrief of getting coached by Michael Goulian as I got ready for a competition. Obviously, I was also heavily using these cameras, but I didn't talk about them much because I was focused on the nerdiness of the content. And also, I will be doing a deep dive into the 4-ship formation flight with the museum fleet. So if you have any questions about that stuff, let me know. And there is more IFR debriefing coming up. So until then, keep your flight chops sharp.